Malo Lele and warm welcome from Kingdom of Tonga. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Linda Mawe, your host for the series of programs that we will be running in the next few months. Now, for those of you that listening to the program yesterday, and if you haven't, you can refer to it in this same page. The purpose of these programs is so that we can have a discourse on this very crucial and important subject, which is economic development of the Kingdom of Tonga, and discourse about the economic development in the Kingdom of Tonga. Now, due to the purpose of the program, it is vital that we conduct the programs and this discourse in English, primarily for any non-Tongans who has a special interest in the economic development of our beautiful Kingdom of Tonga. But there's a crucial question that we must ask. Where do we start? Where can one start? Where can a local start? Where can a non-Tongan who's got a very good interest in investing in Tonga, where can they start? And of course, from that structure, other questions will flow out of it. Now, the guest who will be bringing it, the guests we will be bringing into these programs are people that are truly qualified to speak and to talk to us on the subject matter. But please join me and allow me to introduce to you, I'd say, the only expert in Tonga in the field of urban and regional planning, Mr. Tukua Tonga. Tukua, thank you for joining me in this program. But Tukua went to school in Auckland and also completed his master in urban and regional planning from the University of Auckland. He's now retired with many decades of wealth and experiences and expertise in project management and also expertise in the Tongan government civil servants. Now, it's an honor to have you to go on this program, but I'd like you to, I know you've done, in the 30-something years you've been in the government, you have moved everywhere, almost everywhere, I suppose, in the Tongan government. Can you please just introduce to the viewers at the moment the ministries and the work you have done in the last, 30-something years before we carry on? And I'm asking the viewers, if the sound is not coming out right or loud, can you please just let us know? Malo.
Thank you, Linda. Welcome, viewers. Thank you for tuning in this afternoon. Basically, I started work in 1989. I started at the office of Cabinet Office and Privy Council Office under the Prime Minister's office. And from there I moved to Establishment Office, which is now the Public Service Commission. And from there I moved to Ministry of Finance. And from Ministry of Finance to Ministry of Revenue and Services. I believe it's now the amalgamation of all the revenue services. That is the Customs Department now and Inland Revenue, amalgamated as one. That was that. And finally to the Ministry of Lands, where we, under the national riots and burning of Nuku'alofa, the Puma, which is Planning and Urban Management Division, started as part of the section in the ministry. And that's basically just a rough context of where I come from in terms of...
Right, that's awesome. And we know that you have done your deeds and also retired. And yet, as I mentioned in our program yesterday, the wealth of knowledge and experience with you, we still need it, and we need it more today than ever. But my first question to you, we're looking at our kingdom. We're looking at how can our kingdom be developed economically? Whose job is it? Whose task is it? Can we do it? What do we need? Obviously, we need money, but where's the money? Is it here? Is it overseas? That is what we are looking at in this program. But I suppose if we have, and if people come along and they're non-Tongans, they have a special interest in building this beautiful kingdom. Tonga is very beautiful. Then they need to know where to start. Tugu, I'm going to ask you these questions. When we talk of Tonga economic development, where can one start?
Thank you, Linda. I think this illustrates where anybody in terms of investment, anybody investing in the development of the Kingdom of Tonga, we have the act that was passed in 2012, straight after the riots, in order to rebuild Nuku'alofa.
Right.
But this applies, the act reapplies to all of Tonga.
Right.
And basically, it's a process, a legal process and a legal document that any investor or the private sector or even the current development framework with the bilateral, multilateral will have to go through under the Act.
So what you have in your hand is legal. It's the law.
That's right. That's the law that was passed in 2012.
Right.
Specifically, if you notice at the bottom here,
right,
it was number 7. Mm-hmm. It was pulled up from, it was number 50 when the King Tupou VI came into power.
Right.
He pulled that up, given the importance of it.
Right.
To really
the significance of it.
Yes, okay.
Right. Okay. So, well, you have mentioned how this document came about. It's because after the riot, they call it Nuku'alofa riot, but it's actually Tonga. It is Tonga's riot on the 16th of the 11th of November, 2006. They burned down the place, the town, and we lost a lot of businesses that have been there for a very long time. And obviously bring down the nation economically, bring it down. They brought it down. So obviously, as you said, something has to be developed in terms of a law to guide us as we go forward. Can you tell us how did this come about? I mean, obviously you talked about how what caused it, but tell us what happened to bring that law you have in your hand, and whoever's going to come to town and us can work on it or with it.
Thank you, Linda. When it was envisaged, and the vision then, not only through the king, but also the government of the day, realized that it's not just one building we're reconstructing or building, but there's a variety of buildings. And when it goes from 2 buildings over 2, it becomes urban planning because it affects a lot of the utilities. For an example, it affects the whole environment, the built environment, and which we stay in as well. So this came to be, the Planning Act, to realign all the development and all the vision of everybody, not only in the private sector, ensure the private sector felt comfortable, confident, and secure in terms of what they'll be investing in Tonga, but also for the people of Tonga to realign the processes of the built environments, so it works, it's connected, and it's functional for everybody. Yes.
Right. Okay, so you did mention yesterday in our, we taped the program in Tongan, but somebody's asking to do this in Tongan. Unfortunately, we have to do this. It's not unfortunate. This program must be done in English because we have non-Tongans that are interested in us. You raised a very crucial point yesterday, and I think it needs to be brought up again. You did mention that after the burn of our beloved town ho tau kolomu a anuku alofa. Whoever did it, why they did it, wherever they are, whether they've been punished for it or not, whether they've been accountable. But one thing for sure, there must be an economic development plan that must be done. I think what came out on your conversation yesterday, you did mention that the political reform was done. And it sounded to me there were two arms that should have done. The political reform was done, but you mentioned something about the economic reform. Can you elaborate on that a bit more for our...
Yes.
Yeah.
According then, to the government of the day,
Yeah.
the political reform was what people wanted, and of course we've now seen this happening now. But that's one arm.
Right.
The other arm that I think a lot of people forgot about is the development.
Right.
We need to up the game in our development so it's equal to the public political reform that we're having on the day. Right? And basically this is what it seems that everybody's forgotten about. And of course, we had the summit, and those issues will keep on coming until we have realigned, we have something that is constructed,
Yeah.
which is a process which is rigid, but also fair.
Rigid process.
Rigid process.
But fair.
But fair.
Right.
And also it has a timeline for all the developments.
Right.
I think that's the key.
Yeah.
To all of this.
And that's what they want, isn't it?
That's definitely what
Yeah, that's what they want. But before we go to the summit, which I believe it brought out a whole lot of frustrations, not only to our private sector, but also to investors who are looking from just beyond our shores to actually come in. But we pray that this program today will actually help them to understand. What I would like to ask, in that book of law that you have in your hand, you did mention about there's a link between that and the land. There's a link between that Development Planning and Management Act and the land of Tonga, which I do realize, and I think this is something that any investors need to know and need to understand about Tonga. If they want to develop in Tonga, they need to understand our land system. I'm going to ask you, what is the connection between that law you've got in your hand and the Land Act? Yes. And that's number one. Number two, what's the difference between that and the norm or the status quo that normal investors overseas are used to?
Thank you, Linda. That's a very, very important question in terms of the law itself. The Planning Act was derived from our land tenure system. We had over 40 lawyers during the time, but they always came back with the recommendation of providing freehold, taking the land off, and that was, of course, that's a no-no.
Yeah.
That's a no-no. So we had to find a way until we came across Professor Saswa.
Saswa.
He was a chairman and part of the team that did the Scotland land tenure system. It's basically similar to the Tongan land tenure system with the clan. But he came with that wealth of experience. For about a month, he was in Tonga. I never saw him. I keep on ringing him and asking, "Where are you?" And he, of course,
because he came to do that,
yes,
right?
He came to do this.
Right.
So after the 4 weeks, he came through the door and he said, the solution is, did you know? And I said, what didn't I know? Did you know that the Tongan system, you people are living the culture. It's a living culture. And I stood there for a little while, but amazed that you say. So that's where our entry point is to this, and within the land tenure system. And basically, and that's how it's been developed. Now, coming back to the second question, how it was done, the Land Act has four major components.
Right.
And one of them is to register the land.
Which is what most of our Tongan here and overseas are wanting.
Yes.
Register the land.
Register land. Secondly, is to issue a deed of grant by the minister. Either deed of lease or deed of grant.
Right.
And thirdly, to ensure that it's by succession, birth succession of the elders. Second, that's
that took for a whole part. Right.
But fourthly, under that was the land use. What you use the land for. And for so long, since the Paul the First to even now, we have never enforced that. How you use the land.
So how can we use the land?
You use the land use, but you are also accountable to its, looking after the land.
And whatever you put on top.
Whatever you put on top, it must comply with something. And basically, this is where
you go back
planning,
to.
Tongan town planning is very unique. Tongan town planning coming to be.
Right.
And hence the act here.
That's very interesting, and you're raising a very interesting point. So the Land Act says the land must be registered or leased. And I believe for you Tongans who are listening from overseas, also here in Tonga, everybody's dying to register or to lease their land, which of course it's a process they'll have to go through the land and survey. But you're bringing up a point, and then they want the deed. And do you know how vital that is? From a banker's point of view, you cannot do economic development if you haven't got that piece of paper. If you want to build a house, or if the investors are coming, if you're coming, anyone land must have those title ready. That is, if you're going, of course, to have a mortgage on the land, you must go to a bank if you want to build a house with your title. So number 3, the generational part of the land, and how we're lucky, I suppose, that we still have that the economic development didn't kick us out of our family, heritage, inheritance, land that we are proud of. Whether we have a house there or just a mango tree that we used to play under, we still call it home. And I'm very glad because, as we know in the Western world, when economic developers come, things will start tidy up, we move away, and then the land will be taken. All the hard works of your grandfather and your grandparents and whoever give you that land is out. But number 4, you bring up a very important point. How do we use the land? And this is why we talk about, in this program, economic development. We are going to build on the land, unless we want to build on in the sea or in the air.
The definition of land, according to the Act, so it's reflected in the Constitution and the Land Act, is land, sea, air, and inlet waters.
I'll ask you to repeat that because that's make Tonga unique, and any investors or any people that are coming in, the definition of land, because fonua, kohono whakatonga, kono definition in our
Constitution.
In our Constitution is
reflected in our Land Act.
Right.
Is the land, dry land.
Dry land. Kere matu. Yes.
Also sea.
Tahi.
And also the sky.
Sky. Kawai moe. With space. Yolunga. Langi. Air.
Yeah. And also, lastly, the last one that, what was it? just nearly forgot. It's
Inland
waters.
Inland waters.
That's the Uncle Fanga.
Ngai Fanga. Ko ia. Aya ko mau inga upito e. Famala to kwa ho ome ai definition ko ia. Ta ko definition of fonwa I he tau kon instituto ne o ku kawai kere matu, kawai pa mo tahi, kawai pa mo ea. E ka va puna ha ke ea ku toton ke toton to ha mai ku. To me te gi moi. Ka kono nga ko ea ko ya ko lendia he. Pa kawai pa mo tahi sio. Ko ko me mai ke programani ko definition ya. O kere ka te tauton o ku kai ko kere pe ko o tautu ai. Ka fa fo ke ta programa fo ke ta fo ki pe ki economic development. Ta ko mata me fe ia, ta ko mata pa me he kere. Ko fe hu I ki he ko so ka ko o ku kapite ke tuki lalo tohi e puke ma pe ia te koi pe ko tu pe ko ho hinga ki ai. Who has got the power in the land act ko land act ko na be ko act ko na who has the power under the act? The National Spatial Planning and Management Act. Who has the power under it?
There's an advisory committee. Preferably, we have the king, and also the Minister of Land is also the National Planning Authority, who does not sit as an advisory committee, but is the Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, and Cabinet that sits on that committee. What it does is it develops that rapport, the relationship between the vision of the king and the vision of government. It provides that vehicle for them to actually, with the national interest, to develop Tonga and go forward. So that vehicle is, and then they advise the National Spatial Planning Authority, who is also the Minister of Land, his other hat, to go forward. This is what they recommend. But it provides that environment where everything is discussed, the dialogue, and it's encouraged in order to meet an output. And basically that's under this act, that's the most powerful act.
It's a powerful document.
Why when I say it's powerful document? All development need a development consent.
Right.
Yes. New Zealand, I think they have the resource consent. In Tonga, very specifically to our land tenure system, is the development resource consent, development consent.
So all developers, internally or who's coming in the country, they need a development consent. So what does this say? What does the book, the law say about development consent?
All developer or clients who wants to develop, build a house, build a road, government, it provides that framework. Firstly, there's a timeline. And I think this is the only act that provides that timeline. That creates the rapport between the client or the developer and government, and they are well informed on each stage of their development. And that it creates that environment where there's confidence.
Right.
There is transparency in the process. And also there's an end time to implement.
Right.
And like they say, private sector, for an example, time is everything. And this act here reflects that.
Oh, sounds awesome. Sounds great. I'll bring you then to a crucial part of this conversation. In the National Development Summit for Tonga's Strategic Development Framework 2026 to 2036. What I saw was a whole lot of frustrations from the people in the private sector. Now, we believe that the the backbone of an economy of any nation lies in the private sector. But what we saw was a whole lot of frustrations. I don't know what you see. I don't know what frustrations of the backbone of the economy because of what's happening. Now, I'm going to ask you, because what you have in your hand is the law. And I believe you were the only Tongan that was in that committee to write these laws. So you are qualified to basically tell us, if you use that as the light to examine the pain, the frustrations that all the private sector people were going through, what can you summarize? What would be a solution, really? Because that's what we are all wanting.
It sounds like a broken record, you know.
Right.
And we feel the pain, okay? Because what this does, it realigns the process. It ensures there's, like I said, it builds confidence in the investors. It not only builds confidence, it builds this communication between the planning authority, the agencies, and the client, which is the investor.
Right.
And it also provides a timely framework. I like to say that the timely, sensitive time that the developer needs to, you know, their investment is quite crucial.
Yeah, because they have other things to do.
Have other things that they need to consider.
Yeah.
And that needs to be understood in its context. And I really appreciate that. I mean, I really felt sorry for them. But with this act, you know, government will realign all the projects, what is priority, seeing it communicates to the developer.
Yeah.
And it gets things, it's time sensitive. Basically, that's the underlining under the act. It does not, there is no room for complacency.
There is no room.
There's no room for complacency in terms of why is it delayed.
Yeah. I will paper ko na ela ko na o we ke to e ha place here ki he toto ohi pe mo toloi he ko hono inga ko pa anga ko e ka investor na u o ku taimia o ku pa ke whakanga unu. Which bring me to a very important, I believe, question, and you might say it's not, but I believe it is. Can you, I'd love you to pull out one law from this, from what you have in your hand. I'm sure when you watch the summit, there must be something that you saw, and you know, if they adhered to this law, this wouldn't go this far. Is there any example that you can think of from the top of your mind?
Not to name names.
No.
It seems to be that
we're here.
Yes. There was one client, investor,
right?
A local investor, a Tongan.
Yeah.
That they invested in getting a vessel from overseas. She complained about the process. The process.
So the time sensitivity framework.
Time sensitivity is very important.
Right.
They need to get that in their hand and get them, you know, the business goes forward. But it seems that she's been complaining. It was very frustrating to hear, you know, the whole process. Under the Act, it does not, the agency will be asked to come and explain. Why is it late? If it's not, it will instruct them to immediately grant the license.
Right.
Part of the requirements.
So it sounds like there must be a whole lot of stick to the rules, because that's the law, that's the policy. And I believe, Tukua, we have lost a whole lot of investors. We have lost a whole lot of investors that Tonga needs, that will create jobs, they'll develop the country, bring in money to the country, due to challenges of not adhering to what you have in your hand, and also due to probably not stick to the time sensitivity of it. Is that something you can say?
Yes. I mean, until a government of the day,
Yeah.
I feel that they don't implement this. I'll give a classic example. Recently, the Polataane project.
Right.
When it's diluted and everybody has a say, yeah, and it dilutes the whole impetus of the project.
Yeah, the impetus, yeah.
And when that happens, the investor will lose confidence. It's a risk that they will start thinking whether it's good to invest in Tonga. But the initial idea was good. But however, had they implemented this through the planning authority, National Spatial Planning Act, it would create that environment. It would discuss with them all the way through the steps. The investor kept the ball abreast in terms of what's happening. And like I said, at the end of the day, it's the time sensitivity. But of course, as we all know, of course, everybody was involved in making that decision and it lost impetus.
So those are the challenges of economic development. We're not only talking land here, we're not only talking the act, but we're also talking about challenges that are caused due to not following the act. I think there's something else that not only we lost a whole lot of investors that were very close to coming into the country, but I really like what you're saying, that act, what it does, it aligned our priorities of what should be built first, but also give the reassurance to the developers, any developers out there, and also the community, give them reassurance that they are confident of what that is going to bring into the program. But my question is it alive? Those laws, are they alive already? Is it ready to go, or is it being shelved off somewhere? Where is it right now?
The law was gazetted in 2012.
Right.
So it's the law of Tonga.
It is the law of Tonga.
Law of Tonga. But over the years, with different governments coming, it just sort of lost.
Yeah.
We concentrated on the political reform, but we forgot to also bring up the development guys that would guide us and standardize our development.
Standardize.
Yes.
Yeah.
And basically, this is where it is. It's a law now. There are provisions in there. Which government of the day will activate this. It will show over the years.
Go back to it.
Yeah,
go back to it. Yeah.
It'll activate all the provisions in there, because you have to have the advisory committee in place.
Yeah.
If you issue a stop work order here,
yeah,
if the client or the investor would like to appeal, there's a process.
There's a process.
Yes, it can't go through the appeal process in the app.
Yeah.
And these are the legal provisions that need to be in place.
To protect.
Yeah, also to protect the investor.
Yeah.
But also to ensure that he has confidence to continue in what his vision for his development.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I believe you brought the conversation. We've only got probably about 5 or 6 minutes to go and wrap up this conversation. You mentioned stop work order. Now, that's a stop in the economic development. There might be some good reason why, but I'm aware that there was a stop. Let's use the Polataane project as an example. There was a stop work order that stopped it. Are you able to elaborate on the challenges of that stop work order.
Yeah. Like I said, with this act,
Yeah.
it's law. But what the component of the act needs to be in place is, say, if the planning authority issues a stop work order, there are mechanisms in place to appeal.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what I'm talking about. Those legal provision needs to be in place in order for the stop work order to be fair. You know? Right. When they issue things like that, they just don't issue it out of, without the appeal process being in place. They need to have those in place before they even do that.
Koe. Ai koe prosesi ke mea hono koto ampe. Aku pau ke tau mui prosesi ka pau step ono, pe mui I step ono koya. Kake tukua which bring us to the end of this very crucial conversation today. But I'm going to ask you, just to sum it up for people that have just recently joined us at the moment, quite a few people joining. Legal Alpha Beach is watching. And I'm sure Legal Alpha Beach will be building anytime what they are working on it, which this program will be very much relevant for them. So there's quite a few people watching. But we have recently started on this discourse, economic development discourse, development in Tonga and for Tonga. But the question we asked in this program, where do we start? Of course, you're saying we will start with the law. After people, whoever it was, burned the town. And that's the truth. We're going to talk like that. That's what they did. 1611 to 006, the economic development must be developed. I'm going to give you this opportunity to wrap up the conversation today for anybody that is listening, any non-Tongans as well, who's interested in developing and coming to Tonga. You're saying start with the law. And the law is linked with the land law because the development must be done on land. So I'm going to give you that opportunity if you can bring up a few more points and wrap it up.
Thank you, Linda. I think it's a starting point for all developers and also investors because it gives them the feeling of being secure.
Yeah.
Security, confident.
Yeah.
Because the process is very, very transparent. You go through the process, and they are kept aboard and each abreast in terms of what process is in place throughout the whole steps.
Right.
If whoever government decides to bring this in,
and we might have a new government in November, or the same, we don't know, but all the possibility.
Which government of the day, my feeling is my hope is that they will implement it. It will ease a lot of, in terms of our development.
Frustrations.
And frustration. We won't be repeating a lot of those with what came out from summits. What we will be doing is presenting the authority, presenting to the people our infrastructure development plan for Tonga.
Right.
It's the other way around. What have we built for Tonga? Maybe apart from the bilateral agreements.
Right, right.
We need to encourage the developers, the investors, to come in and invest in Tonga.
Yeah.
And this is a framework which
will guide them.
It will guide them further. Guide the investor and also realign from the government's point of view, realign all the development for what is best for Tonga.
That sounds awesome. One last question. I keep seeing the act, you keep putting it up, but I saw a figure, I saw a year, 2012. Act number 7 of 2012. We're now in 2025. Where are we with economic development in Tonga? Because one of the first questions that we need to ask or know where we should be, we need to ask, where are we with economic development? Kifua Ange kita utolo me wanoa tahawa tal hono introduce mai wa me ke wanoa wanima siulai wanoa wanima.
Basically, since 2012, from a planning perspective. And the neglect of applying the planning act, it's because of our bilateral agreements with all ADB, World Bank, all the other countries, and multilateral, that we're building things. But whether it's for me, it's disjointed.
Disjointed development.
Disjointed development, and with urban planning, it comes with the holistic development.
And that's what Tonga needs, a holistic.
Yeah. When you talk about roads, from a planning point of view, since 2012, we did the AC cement in Nuku'alofa with the inventions that can be done, because Tonga is a small place. That could be done all of Tonga.
Right.
But apparently, because of change of government, next government came in and they didn't see it. So, but that was the standard under this. When you talk about standard and realigning that, it means proper roads, proper sidewalks, drainage, lighting for all the roads. Whether it's solar, and it can be done. It's just a matter of us sitting down.
I know I've given it to wrap up, but I can't help asking this question. I think I'll make it the last one before we say goodbye. You mentioned about roads, and what's coming to mind is November, there will be the elections. And I know most candidates, they'll try and tanuhala. You did mention when we were talking about the summit. Now, how does that work? I mean, do they need to come and get approval, or do they just go and get the maga and go and tanu it, do the job? What's the proper process? And you also mentioned that apparently the roads in town should be treated differently from. Can you please elaborate on it to make it clear? Because we are going to see a lot of that in the upcoming election. But to help those candidates that are thinking of doing it, to do it proper. Proper in the making, but proper in also doing it.
Right. I mean, firstly, all candidates need a plan.
Right.
And that plan should be available in public and to all the constituencies.
Right. Economic development plan.
Economic development plan. But in order to do that, Tonga needs to reclassify the road hierarchy and the road specifications. Gone are the days where we had chip seal in town. That was done in 2002. We are in 2025.
Ayoko fenga tanuhala ko nuk file ihala tau file to nuk alofa.
It's a no-no.
It's a no-no.
No-no.
Yeah. Kohono hinga ko ha.
It's just a classification of the roads. But we just don't build that in urban areas anymore with chip seal. It's cheap, I understand that. But we, under this act, it wouldn't allow it.
Wouldn't allow it.
You'll have to go up to the, to the next level of the AC cement, pay for it. It's all constituents, all parliamentarians have a constituent. I have not seen a plan for any of the
economic development for a constituency.
They explained it over during parliament debates,
but nothing in writing.
When you go and ask for it, see where it is, it's not there. So my point of view is, if there's a candidate that is standing who does not have a plan, and you cannot cite it, I would not be putting my money
or your vote.
More my vote for them. It's not practical, it's just not there. It's just very political.
Well, thank you so much, Tukua, for this. We'd like to thank our guest today for his contributions and for guiding us along. So for any non-Tongans who are watching this program, or you will be watching this program is called Alpha Omega Economic Development in Tonga and for Tonga. Now, Tukua, as I introduced, is the leading expert in urban and regional planning in Tonga, have been for the past almost 20 years, and have worked in a lot of projects and seen the failure of some due to not solving land issues and all that kind of stuff. But also, he has got the solutions for you. And the solution is that Tonga has got a National Spatial Planning and Management Act 2012. If you use that, and it should be used because it's the law, living law, then it basically gives the investors the confidence and the reassurance that there is what they need. Is basically all in their program. So we'd like to thank you, but also to invite you again. Don't forget to watch us. This will be a weekly program. So we're going to invite you to go back. There's a lot to talk about regarding economic development. Now, economic development, there are 4 factors of production. Number 1 is the land. Number 2, capital. 3, labor. 4, entrepreneurship. So we've been talking about the land. I'm sure next week we will have other people from other fields that will be joining us, and they'll be talking in their expertise and their area of expertise, and to give you the hope, the understanding, take the frustrations because you don't know where to start. So thank you all for watching, and if there's anything you want to raise, this is the channel we're going to be contacting on. So I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you also for the first program, Dukua. That was very successful, and people are coming back with their program. Enjoy the rest of the day. Have a great weekend, and no doubt, join us next week. Watch this space. I'll keep bringing it, alerting you of the time before we carry on. O whātu ki he tonga no koto ape, whakataon ki hoko e polkalama koe ni, koe tokon lahi ka tek mautolo. O koe pe uhinga hoko wha Britania e polkalamani, ko uhi ko ki nau tolu, o nau fia, o mai ki tonga ni kau kai kai, ha nau ilo, pe te nau kamata me whia. Pa koe whio I wha o si, pea e haa tonga. Te tau nof pehen pe, pe utaimi ke tau ngā unu, koe nu kalokalo mai o ulo o tūkua, pa moe lao. Pau ke tau alu ke lao, ko hononga ka whotutu le rei, ho tau whanua pa moe anga e tau no who. Tua whātu, pa me tek maua. Have a great weekend, everybody. Pa mo toki, tohi mai pe, ke tau tok pōtala noa. Tua whātu, ko au Linda Maue, pa mo mo polo kalama, Alpha Omega Economic Development in Tonga.